Hey toy fans, Aaron here. Tonight going to take a look at the episode 1 release of Gallia. She was released in 1999, so let's head to that table and check this one out. And here's a look at her on that episode 1 card. It's got a great look to it with that red and black coloring. Of course, you got the big image of Darth Maul in the top left side. Below that, a photo as you saw her in the movie, along with the ComTech chip underneath that photo. And then through the blister, of course, you see the figure with the included accessory. On the back side of the card, you got a bunch of different information going on here. On the top third, you got a couple different bits of information. First up, a little write-up about episode 1, and basically just saying it's coming back to the big screen with a brief write-up about it. And to the right, you got your information about Gallia, essentially just stating that she's a member of the Jedi Council. And just below that, you have the lines listed that are stated on the ComTech chip. And speaking of which, on the middle part of the card, that's your write-up about the ComTech reader. And further down on the card are the other figures that were also available at this time. And now taking a look at the figure out of the packaging. Overall, pretty nice figure. I don't think it's anything overwhelming, but I think it is what it needs to be. First off, she's got this outer robe that was much like the other figures at the time, where essentially it's just a form-fitted plastic molded robe. And it just, I don't want to say it snaps around the figure, but it hugs the figure pretty nice and tight so it stays in place. In her case, there is a little slit for her right arm to slide through, and then the other arm remains hidden inside the robe. Overall, like I said, very nice form to it. I like the sculpting of the hood, the way it lays around the sides of the head, a little bit of draping going on in the backside. Nice folds running down along the back. Also, even around the arms has some nice draping looks to it. And then along the bottom, it sits very nicely. And of course, one of the plus sides to this, not that this figure needs it, it stands up very well without the robe on. But, you know, this just does add some more stability to the figure if you happen to bump your big hands on your loose figures from time to time. And with that robe off, reveals a very nice figure underneath. Looking at the head sculpt, I mean, for the most part, it's nice. It's very well painted. The headdress has a very nice sculpting to it and seems very representative of how she looks in the movie. Pretty decent coloring to it. And you got some like dark green beaded lines or something. I'm not sure what that is on the headdress. But as far as the actual sculpting of her face, I would have liked something a little different. She kind of looks like she just saw a ghost. Seems like something really shocked her. I would have liked a little bit of a different look for her. Aside from that, the only other thing, though, is the skin tone does not match at all from the chest to the head. The hands do match up a little better, though, to the head. It's not all that huge of a deal, but it does stand out quite a bit to me as one of the first things I see, aside from the look on her face. As far as the rest of the sculpting for her chest and midsection, it's Jedi robes, and it looks really nice. Very nice, clean lines throughout the outfit. You kind of make out the texturing in the uniform, the different layers of cloth for the tabards, and then the robes underneath. Sculpting for the belt looks great. You got a pouch on the right side of her hip, the buckling, and then that kind of darker brown inner belt painted in there. It looks really good. And then for the most part, it seems like it's all staying within the lines. On the back of the belt, a little overspray there, but that is something that probably varies figure to figure. Getting to her pants, the coloring looks pretty good. Seems like it's pretty representative of how it looked in the movie for her. Nice draping sculpted into the fabric. And then, as you see, she's got some nice tan boots on. Pretty decent sculpting. It looks like how you would expect boots on an action figure to look. As for the articulation of the figure, well, with the robe on, obviously things get a little bit more limited, so I'm just going to keep that peeled off for now. But your head is going to swivel, and you can get that to rotate all the way around. Each shoulder also rotates a full 360. At her right arm, where she's already sculpted at that 90-degree bend, you've got some elbow swiveling there, but nothing for her left arm. That's just a straight sculpt, no articulation in that. And then you got a full swivel at the waist. And then even though her tunic skirt pieces come down quite a bit, it is flexible enough that you're able to bring the legs straight out or even straight back. As for accessories, she does come with a lightsaber. Interesting choice of color on this. I wouldn't call it a red. There is a purple tint to it, so it's like a reddish purple, I would say. But it is still an interesting use of color because my head still pretty much sees red right away and thinks Sith. Aside from that, the lightsaber hilt has a pretty decent sculpt to it. Touch of gold painting at the edge of the hilt. Otherwise, just some various buttons sculpted in there. Of course, we did not see her use a lightsaber at all in episode 1, but it's still nice that I guess for playability reasons, Hasbro included it since she is a Jedi after all. You can fit the lightsaber in either hand, but I guess she's more sculpted with her right arm at that 90-degree bend. So it looks a little better in there. And plus, that's the hand that fits through the sleeve of her robe. And then finally, we come to the ComTech chip. As you can see, there's a clear plastic pieces. There's a little peg on top. You can use them as action figure stands. At the center, you had a photo of the character that this chip is for. So in this case, it's Adi. And it's got a holographic little background to it. Later, they did change these over to solid white images. On the backside, you got a little write-up about her. So let's take a listen to the sounds.
The Sith should not be ignored. The power of the dark side is growing, I fear. There is more to this conflict than meets the eye.
Well, still sounds like a speak and spell. I think that was those toys when I was a kid. But that's what the recordings were at the time. Ain't no use harping on that on every review of these figures I do. But aside from that, I mean, I don't even think we heard her talk in the movie, so whether these are lines from the cutting room floor or something, I have no idea. But hey, at least they did something. So I guess that's really all there is to say about that one. And overall, as I said earlier, to me, this is still a very nice looking figure. It was great that we were getting these Jedi Council figures that, we didn't see them do anything except sit in a chair. They were, way off in the background of the shot. And these came out at a time when Hasbro certainly was not shy about getting figures out on the shelves. And that wraps up this look at Adi Gallia. I'd love to know what your thoughts are on this figure in the comment section below. And as always, thank you for watching.